Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we're going to make this really cute iPad cover that has a zipper. You can also do this tutorial for like a laptop or even a Kindle, anything like that. It's really easy to make, so just follow along. Let's just go ahead and get started. So first thing you want to do is measure your item. Like I said, I'm making an iPad cover. This is for my sister, so I just asked her to send me the measurements of her iPad length and width, and I ended up adding 2 more inches for the fabric just so we can have more room to work with. So you're going to need 2 outer fabric, 2 batting, and for the batting I do make it bigger just so we can have more room to work with, and then 2 inner fabric. So I will be quilting my fabric together. That's mainly why I did my batting bigger, so I can have more room to work with. Obviously you don't have to do this, you can skip this part, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. So basically all you're going to do is mark an inch lengthwise and widthwise from the bottom corner. I'll show you how I do it in just a second, but this is a marker I use to mark my lines. It is a water erasable marker. Make sure you guys test your fabric with this, like do a little piece before you actually mark all your fabric with it, because you never know, it might not work, but this one did work for me. So you just mark it, and then at the end of your project you just add a little bit of water on those blue lines and it disappears. So let's go ahead and measure an inch, and we're just gonna mark that mark. Oh my god, I sound like what's her name? Oh my god, Maura Higgins. Okay, so you're just gonna do an inch on the bottom and on the side, length and widthwise. I'm so sorry guys. And then you're just gonna connect those two markings together and then draw a line. So now for the width between the spacings of the line, this is really up to you. I just use the width of my ruler, and I believe it's 1 3/8, but again you can do whatever spacing you want with that. So now we're just gonna, for my case, I'm just going to trace my ruler all the way across to the end of my fabric, and then we're literally going to do the same thing but on the opposite side once we're done drawing all these lines. So this is what it ends up looking like after you draw all the lines, and now we're going to do again the same thing on the opposite side. 1 inch in, 1 inch up, and then connect the lines, and then again just mark all your lines all the way across. And then after that we're just gonna go ahead and start sewing. So here we're literally just gonna do a top stitch on top of all those lines that we drew, and it's gonna take you a minute, but once you start sewing you do want to make sure you start with a back stitch, and once you end sewing that line, end with a back stitch, just so your thread won't unravel throughout the process. So this is what it looks like after you're done sewing, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but what you're sewing together here is the batting and the outer fabric. You want to do it for both sets, so you're gonna have 2 of these. Again, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure I didn't mention that, but that's what you're sewing together. And now we're just gonna trim all around the edges. So I actually wasn't gonna show this part, but I do sew a pocket, but I end up taking it at the end, just taking it off at the end because I didn't end up liking it. But you literally just want to take whatever size fabric you want, or the size of the pocket you want, and you're just going to sew it onto the inner fabric. And for this I did do like a top stitch before sewing it onto the actual fabric, just so it can look neater. And I only do a top stitch on the top line, and then the top stitch for the rest of the things when I'm actually sewing it onto the actual fabric. If you have any questions on that, just let me know. I don't have much video of it because again I end up removing it because I didn't like it, but just comment down below and let me know if you have any questions. But now we're gonna add the zipper. So first you want your inner fabric, and then your zipper, and then your outer fabric facing down. And for the zipper, make sure it's facing up. I'm showing the wrong side here. So zipper facing up, make sure everything's perfectly aligned, and then we're just going to do a top stitch along that line. I already sewed the top stitch, and you see how the zipper is facing up, so this is how you want it. Inner fabric, zipper facing up, and then outer fabric facing down, and then that is where you want to sew as close as possible to the actual zipper. So now we're going to add our other side of the fabric. So you're basically just turning that inside out, and you want to make sure You align everything perfectly here at the bottom. I also clip this down so it won't move around once you're sewing the other side to the zipper. And now you're going to want to take the other inner fabric, lay it down, and then align the zipper to the top of that part. And then we're going to take our other outer fabric and have it facing down, and again align it to the top of that line. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sew a top stitch as close as possible to that zipper. So sorry, I forgot to record this part, but you want to do a top stitch right next to the zipper. It just makes it look more professional. And now we're going to put the zipper halfway down, and we're going to fold the insides like this because we're going to get ready to sew everything together. So now we're just going to sew literally all the way around, except we're going to leave a gap a couple inches long just so we have enough room to turn the case inside out. So this is what it looks like after you sew everything, and you do want to make sure you go slow in the zipper part because that is a lot of layers, so just go slow on that part so nothing will get jammed. And that is the hole we're going to turn everything inside out with. And I am going to speed this process up just because it does take me a while because you want to take your time with it. So at this point I realized that I didn't like the pocket, so that's when I remove it. And you do also want to cut the corners. I'm going to put a screenshot on how to do that because I didn't record it. And this is how it turns out. We're literally basically done. We just have to close that closure up, and that's how the corners come out after you cut the corners. It looks way more neater. But yeah, that's it guys. Let's go ahead and sew that up. So now we're just gonna sew that hole up, and you want to make sure you fold in like that. Sorry, I'm trying to like record with one hand and then show you with another one. But yeah, just fold it in, and then you're just gonna sew that up a straight line. And that's literally it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and this is what it looked like. I loved it. I love the fabric. I actually got the fabric from Sew by Sew. It's a company that does like mystery boxes, and that's what I got. So I love the fabric. I'm glad I got to use it already. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please comment, like, comment, share, and please subscribe. See you on the next one. Bye guys.